Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Smar, and I am with the Fairfax County Silver Shield Anti-Scam Campaign. With me today to help talk about this very important topic of artificial intelligence is Martin Bailey. He's a member of our Silver Shield Anti-Scam Campaign and also a volunteer with AARP. I have noticed that artificial intelligence has been in the news a lot lately. There have been many news stories. It seems like the applications and potential uses for AI have amazed the public while also stirring some very fierce debates. Proponents view artificial intelligence as a valuable tool that can provide numerous benefits when used properly, while detractors warn of dire consequences if AI is not used properly and is also not properly regulated.
That's correct, Melissa. A lot of us do not realize what AI is and some of the uses for AI. To many, it's just a computer program or a computer system that's made out of algorithms and models that enable the machines that we use to reason, to learn, and to make decisions similar to what humans would make decisions on.
Agreed, Martin. But in practice, AI is software that enables the processing of large amounts of data to solve tasks that otherwise would require human intelligence. Examples of this are image recognition, video analytics, voice recognition, text recognition, and understanding language.
You are correct. And one of the big things is its ability to process a large amount of data to quickly solve issues. AI is being used in natural language processing, healthcare, finance, transportation, and many other systems. AI systems have potential to automate repetitive tasks, enhance productivity, improve decision making, and even contribute to scientific advancements. Some AI systems are so sophisticated that they are able to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across various domains, similar to what we see in human intelligence. So it is very important to note that although AI is with us today, it's still just a developing field. And we've made significant progress in this, but there's a lot of challenges that have to be overcome. Some of the challenges concerning ethical considerations. When we talk about ethics, now you're talking not only society, but you're talking about individuals. So just what type of ethical considerations have to be looked at before AI can be applied totally to systems. We also have to look at the algorithms that AI uses. And are there any biases in these algorithms? Now, remember, humans make the algorithms up, so there's going to be some type of bias in there. And the question is, how much and what is it, and how does it affect the AI process? Then you have the privacy concerns of not only corporate privacy, but also the individual privacy. Where's that line going to be at for privacy, and just who's going to control that? Who's going to regulate that particular thing? And then, of course, you have the economic impacts. What's the job market going to look like? How is AI going to affect jobs, and what type of jobs is AI going to affect? Are they going to take jobs away, or are they going to make more jobs? And the other one, of course, is how is it going to affect the entire economy? Now, these are just some of the considerations that we have to carefully address before AI can really advance to where we think it should be.
Yes, Martin, you bring up an excellent point regarding and concerning ethics. Nearly all the scams that are currently in our communities can be enhanced by AI, and of course, those unethical scammers. This also includes social engineering scams. For those of you who don't know, social engineering scams incorporate a range of techniques used to psychologically manipulate a victim into providing sensitive information or just giving money. Scams of this type include the impersonator scams, the romance scams, which were extremely popular, unfortunately, during the pandemic, tech and pop up scams related to new companies or part-time jobs from home, excuse me, and financial and investment scams.
You're right, Melissa. And what you just described there are the scams that have been going around for a while. Every time I do a fraud presentation, you almost cover all these scams the same way you just did. But because of AI has the ability to enhance these scams by use of natural language processing. And when they do that, they now create messages that can mimic the writing style of a trusted individual, that takes the personal data and other things that AI knows, and will make these and craft these into personalized scams. So AI now can make scripts that are more convincing and have a greater emotional impact to the victim than normally than what we're used to. Okay. And because of this, the victims now have a hard time deciding whether it's a legitimate communication or whether it's a fraudulent communication. So these are the things that we have to look at, and we have to be aware of it, and we have to make the public aware of these things on what to look for AI. Now, another thing that it helps the scammers out in a way, because instead of doing a mass mailing of email and phishing email like we're used to, now they can pinpoint and actually do more spear phishing, because if they use AI and the way the AI can construct these scams, then they can do the spear phishing and really selectively target their audience better.
Yes, and we have also heard concerns that AI may be used to develop sophisticated malware and automated attack tools. By leveraging machine learning techniques, attackers can create malware that will adapt and evolve to evade traditional cybersecurity defenses. So basically, again, it's a situation where the scammers are two steps ahead of law enforcement and other scam fighters, making it more challenging to detect and mitigate.
And unfortunately, you're correct on that one there. But there are ways we can look for warning signs or red flags, as we call them, when we are dealing with AI. And one of the ways is, if you look at what AI is generated as a text, sometimes it will not be the natural conversation type of flow that we're used to. It may contain grammatical errors, strange language or phrases, and the tone just may not be consistent with our normal conversation that we normally have between one another. Okay, and this is like an unnatural language. So we still understand it, but just something just isn't right. The other thing you have to look for is, it appears that responses that we receive may not be answering the question that we asked, and there may be some type of, like, let's say, a lack of contextual understanding. So although that it's answering something, but it's just not 100% right. There's something wrong about it. Sometimes it will even give a generic answer to your questions that you're asking for. And then sometimes it will even give you something that's totally unrelated to the query that you ask AI, that you ask the system about. The other thing you have to look at is the lack of personalization. We talked about this before. If you get a mailing, some type of communication, either a text or an email, and it's not personalized, it doesn't address it to you. It addresses to, say, dear beneficiary, or it just doesn't address it at all. Things like that you have to
Thank you.
really be careful of, and that may be suspicious, and it may be very much an AI generated thing. And the other thing you have to look at is word repetition. AI tends to use the same words or the same phrases over and over again in their communication. And they'll also, if there's buzzwords in here, they will overuse the buzzwords. So although we have to look at AI, just look at AI as a platform that criminals can use now to deliver these scams, as you mentioned. And they're a little more refined than they were before, but we've been fighting these scams for many years. So if we can take the AI facade, strip it away, we're back to the old scams and the way we can defend ourselves against those scams.
Thank you, Martin. You're absolutely correct. And since these are the same scams, and we've been aware of these for years, once the AI facade is recognized by many of the defensive techniques, we will be able to use the same or similar to the ones we've already been using. For example, you want to be cautious of unsolicited emails, text messages, and phone calls. And as Martin alluded to in his just a moment ago, again, you want to be careful of clicking on any links, in whether it's email, text messages, and then also misspellings in unsolicited emails and text messages. You always want to communicate through a secured and verified messaging platform rather than an unsecured platform. Um, these are sites that start with HTTPS, and the S symbolizes safety. There's usually a padlock icon on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You want to use two-factor or multi-factor authentication. A lot of companies are doing this to help protect whether it's websites or apps on iPhones or Androids. And then you want to use a random password generator and a password manager to generate and store strong passwords. And of course, I just did a recent presentation where some of the audience members asked me, well, how often should we be changing our passwords? And the recommendation that I've heard is 30 days, but a lot of people get complacent and don't want to have to do that because that is a lot of work to do.
Are there any? What are the other defensive techniques that we can use? Are there any other ones?
Oh, sure. We also have to verify the source before clicking. Never give stranger money or personal identifiable information. If a if you're a target of a scam, you want to stop communicating and contact authorities.
These are all things we go over in all our presentations on what and how we can prevent and what red flags we have to look for. And really, the only real weapons we have are our vigilance and due diligence. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, this is where we really, really have to look and ask ourselves, is this addressed to us? Why would somebody be giving us a beneficiary type thing? Okay, did we really lose somebody that we don't know about? Or if it's a romance scam, is why me? Why would some 20-year-old go after me? So these are the things, we have to question a little bit harder than we normally do, because now the artificial intelligence makes it harder to determine whether it is a legitimate communication or whether it is a fraudulent communication. So these are the things that AI we really have to look for. And a lot of times with the people that are doing this, we really have to depend on them to be able to discern this is how AI works. These are the things we have to look for.
Thank you, Martin. And if you believe you are the victim of a scam, there's a couple of sources we were going to provide information for. You can call the Fairfax County Non-Emergency Police Line at 703-691-2131, TTY 711. You can also file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, which is a federal agency that deals with um, regulating of consumer issues, and that's at reportfraud.ftc.gov. You can also file a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at www.ic3.gov. And then you can also contact AARP Fraud Watch Network at 877-908-3360 with your concern. And I know Martin has taken these calls over the course of the last couple of years to help out the Fraud Watch Network. So I think that brings our
Yeah,
conversation
and I've had some
to a
very interesting
close.
calls on those.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Any stories that stick out?
So far, I've had nothing on real artificial intelligence. Most of them have been the regular scams, but there's a lot of identity theft that goes on. And you may start with maybe a romance scam, but somebody gives their social security number out. It may start with a sweepstake, but you need identifiable information in order to get the sweepstake funds. So they're giving out their social security numbers, they're giving out their driver's license numbers, they're giving out a lot of personal identifiable information that we tell people, please do not give that out. Do not give any personal identifiable information out unless you know who you're giving it to, the organization they represent, why they want it, how they're going to use it, how they're going to store it, how they're going to get rid of it, or are they going to sell it, or are they going to share it? So these are the questions you want to ask people before you give any personal information. Melissa, I want to thank you for having me today. I've enjoyed talking with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And thank you all to those who are tuning in. This is a very important topic, and we will probably have more as the months go along. So have a great day, everyone.